Welcome to Highlands Motorsport Park for the final round of the 2016 Australian GT Championship. 32 exotic GT3 sports cars have made the journey, but there can be only one champion. The season-long fight has come down to a three-way battle between Roger Largo's Lamborghini and the McLarens of Nathan Morecambe and Clark Quinn, with Quinn going into the final round with only one objective.
Just go to the front and increase the lead, and that's what I got to do to Nathan, keep him behind me, and we're pretty much tied on points going into the two races, and qualifying's going to be important. We get points for qualifying. But it really come down to the two races, and we've been peas and carrots all year long, and I've been consistent, and that's got me into this position. And I remember in one of the first drivers' briefing in Clipsal, I popped up and said, look guys, I'm not here to win the championship, but I've got this to say. And here we are at the end of the year, and we're in the lead of the championship.
Sitting only a handful of points behind, Nathan Morecambe comes to Highlands Motorsport Park aiming for victory.
Straight out, go out and beat him is the tactics. But no, it's only like 9, under 10 points between us two for the championship. But then again, Largo's not far behind us either, so we've got to be mindful of him too. And just looking forward to getting out there racing my buddy Clark.
Sitting in third is championship dark horse Roger Largo, who's also leading the Gold Driver Cup.
So that's gone pretty good for me. I think I've won probably 4 out of 5 rounds, and we'll try and keep it clean this weekend and see if we can win that championship. We started well in Adelaide, made a mistake last race, and then Townsville was pretty good, won the round there, and tried to be consistent. So far this weekend we're going okay. 2016 has been a year of huge growth for GT racing, with big fields in the Australian GT Sprint Series, the new Australian Endurance Championship, and Australian GT Trophy Series, the fan favourite category capping it off at the ever more popular final round at Highlands.
We've had some good runs this year. We've had a lot of fun. We've had a couple of rounds where things didn't go our way, but that's motorsport. But no, overall it's been good. Been across all 3 championships, so been getting plenty of miles. Every time we turn up, there's a new car, a cool car. It's just going in leaps and bounds, and it's good to see everyone kind of getting behind the growth of it.
The cars have got faster, and the categories got stronger, and the drivers have got stronger as well, and it's really serious now to what it was 3-4 years ago.
We've got every manufacturer here, and just great to see. We've got Stefan Rattel, like the god of GD3, come to bless us this weekend. That just proves the strength of the category, and it is a growth category for motorsport in general.
They asked me 5 years ago if I thought it could be this popular. I would have said, you're mad. The cars are so well built in the first place, you are not allowed to change them, so there's no huge expense in ongoing development. It's a great thing to be sitting in a Mercedes-Benz or an Aston Martin or a Porsche. It's pretty cool.
So into the action here at Highlands as the crews familiarise themselves with the challenging 4.1k circuit. There was plenty of action and drama. First to find serious trouble was the factory Nissan Nismo GTR GT3. As debutant Matthew Simmons was coming to grips with the track, he lost it going through the southern loop, putting the GTR out for the weekend. Next to fall in practice was the objective McLaren 650S of Tony Walls, losing it on his way to the bridge. Definitely a nasty shunt, but thankfully Tony was okay. The McLaren was also, unfortunately, out for the event. As qualifying began, the pace increased, with drivers trying harder to find an advantage. Tony Bates in the Audi, however, tried a bit too hard. The number 1 Jamac PEM R8 colliding with the wall, giving the team plenty of work to fix the car for qualifying number 2. Sitting in 5th was Elliot Barber's McLaren. Title contender Roger Largo set 4th fastest time. Grant Denyer hustled his McLaren to 3rd, but out front it was a straight fight between the main title rivals, with Clark Quinn in the Darrell Lee Stick 650S edging out Morecambe to go fastest.
Clark Quinn, McLaren 1, 2, 3 in the first qualifying session, and you were the man on the top.
Yeah, it's a good place to be, obviously. I was really confident last year around the circuit. It means a lot to me, this place, and I've got a lot to do with it. And it's just one of those rewarding circuits. And to piece it all together, we smashed our cracking lap. I think we even bet Shane's lap from last year, so I'll have to give him a text later on.
McLaren's definitely suit this track around here. We're not long straights like all the other tracks where we struggle with the horsepower. Clark's just a little bit ahead, but what better way than battle it out on the front row in qualifying.
second qualifying session saw many of the two-driver team's lead drivers hit the track with names like Richards, Tander, Baird and Murphy, mixing it with European stars like Ledegar and Mies. More carnage, however, punctured the session with Andrew Miedeke hitting the wall, putting his Aston Martin out of the event. As the session resumed, the times began to tumble with the top 11 cars all separated by less than a second. Sitting in fourth was Baird, the big Mercedes trailing the hard-charging Garth Tander. But despite their best efforts, it was the Europeans who stole the show. Australian GT debutant Com Ledegar second in the Techno McLaren behind reigning champion Christopher Mies. The Jamac Pem Audi impressively repaired in time for the session.
Unfortunately, Tony had a little contact to the wall in Q1, so we were not sure if we can fix the car for Q2, and we just made it in under 1 hour. Thanks to the boys from MPC and Jamac Pem Racing, that's incredible, you know. The damage was fairly a bit, so it wasn't sure if we really can start on time. But I think just when it went green, I could go out of the pit, and I'm happy for the boys that they are on pole.
You've not driven the track before. How hard was it?
It's always a bit difficult to learn the track, but it's so much fun. I enjoy so much the track, so it was only good moments to learn it. We have no big straight lines and a lot of rhythm, so it needs to stay focused. But to be honest, for me, it looks like a city track. Walls are really close and a lot of adrenaline. It's really, really good fun.
Garth Tander, P3, obviously pretty happy with that.
Reasonably. Would have been nice to be on the front row with both the Audis on the front row. But, you know, two factory, full-time GT3 guys on the front row. To be as close as we are, I'm reasonably happy. I've been here 3 years now and driven 3 different cars, the Aston Martin, the McLaren and now the Audi. Audi's definitely got the most downforce out of all the cars, but struggles in the straights and off the slow corners. So the way they all make their lap times very, very different, which will make the race really quite interesting. So we'll try and get in behind Measy at the start and don't let the McLaren in at the bus stop, and then we'll try and drive away.
Sitting in fifth was Nathan Morecambe, the McLaren driver, pipping Quinn in the final session.
Nathan, 2 spots ahead of Clark. It's going to help you in the championship with points?
Oh, definitely will help us in the points. We've qualifying points up for grabs. Car felt pretty stable when we're out there. I reckon we got a good race car and we'll hunt on down Clark.
It's a quirky old venue, Highlands, and the grid looks like this for the first race. Mies taking that pole position from Com Ledegar, the Frenchman doing well. Garth Tander in with a shot, but watch out for those championship combatants, names like Nathan Morecambe and Clark Quinn. Plenty of tales of woe towards the back of this one. Andrew Miedeke out for the weekend, and some big names to watch out for that'll be starting near the rear of the pack. Two races at the final round of the championship for the Australian GTs here at Highlands, and this is the highlights of the first one. Unfortunately, Nathan Antunes pulling into the pits with a puncture on the formation lap. It was a pair of Europeans that led us to the green flag. With Christopher Mies on pole, it was Com Ledegar, the Frenchman, that won this staring contest down to the bus stop chicane. And listen to this variation of motors. Don't you just love it? A man who absolutely loves it is alongside me in the commentary box for this one, Carl Reindler. How about Clark Quinn's intent straight up the inside of Nathan Morecambe on the opening lap?
Really trying to set a precedent nice and early. He means business. He's looking out for that championship at the moment. As we see contact between Roger Largo and Cameron McConville. Don't know who was at fault there, but they both get away safely.
And remember, Largo third in the points here this weekend, so that was a costly manoeuvre for the Lamborghini. A little bit of a touch there between Mies and Ledegar as they rounded out the first lap. Very fast run onto the front straight here, but it was Com Ledegar who got the perfect jump, leading a 4-car battle between himself, Mies, Tander and Baird.
What's incredible to see here is the strengths and weaknesses. You've got McLaren, you've got 2 German manufacturers. You've got the Mercedes that Baird's in at the moment, and the Audi. Mies is just on the attack. He's trying to get past as best he can. Incredible braking ability in that Audi.
The other thing to think about was the difference in pit stops in this race, and you can see how strong that Audi is under brakes, trying to go around the outside of Ledegar, and Ledegar has a 14-second longer pit stop time, so he didn't want to be in this fight. He wanted to be clearing up the road.
Yeah, absolutely, and trying to move on around the outside there is a brave place, especially down here into the first chicane. I mean, there's just zero margin for error through the bus stop chicane.
Garth Tander sitting there in third place, watching these 2 crazy Europeans absolutely go to war. The championship fight, we're going to be looking at it all weekend. Clark Quinn and Nathan Morecambe. And I don't want to give too much away, but geez, this really got exciting towards the end of the race, and they were on the limit throughout the entire 1 hour.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on those guys up the pointy end, but what a race. Again, that 4-car battle. Exciting to see from start to finish as we see those notorious tyre bundles here at Highlands Motorsport Park, catching a few people out throughout the weekend.
Yeah, very tricky entrances, not just to that one, but also up near the bridge. So traffic was always going to play a part in it, and Ledigar had to be a little bit patient here, and Mies could just about smell an opportunity. So too could Garth Tander. Baird in this battle. This was awesome for the lead of the race.
I think Garth Tander was lucked out a little bit here. I think it was Mies that got hung out to dry, and Tander was the quiet achiever out of all of that.
He's the big beneficiary out of that one as Mies dropped back to 4th because Baird picked him off in the STM Mercedes as well. Scott Taylor unfortunately not driving that car here this weekend, but they've brought in a big gun in Mike Armand, who races in Carrera Cup back in Australia. So the pit stops, well, as you can see, they pretty much happened on the button when that window opened. It was just a fascinating opening stanza to this race. Com Ledigar holding his nerve from Garth Tander.
So it didn't look at all that easy with Christopher Mies behind you.
No, it was really definitely not easy, but when you are fighting with intelligent drivers like him and like also Tander, it was quite smart, good fight. It was not easy because the Audi team did a really good job, but we keep on it.
Yeah, it was on. The McLaren was probably a bit slower than us, and Measy was trying to get past, and then when we got to the lap traffic, I get around Chris. It was good fun, and it was a bit like playing chess at 200 kilometres an hour. Each car had different strengths and weaknesses, but yeah, it was cool fun.
After the pit stop window had closed and the field had cleansed itself out, incredibly first and second in the championship came out first and second on the road with Nathan Morecambe 5 seconds back from the championship leader Clark Quinn. A fascinating scenario.
And a nice little buffer to have, especially after the precedent that was set early. And we see Mike Armand back behind the wheel of that AMG, hunting down a few cars in front of him.
Yeah, so they had a pretty lengthy pit stop time, and Mike Armand, who's very aggressive in the Porsches usually, now making that move over to the Erebus prepared STM Mercedes, doing a great job fighting some other guys, including Tony Bates on that occasion. Those two have raced each other in Carrera Cup. Here comes Morecambe on the charge, chasing down Clark Quinn, the two-time champion already, hunting for his third and diving up the inside at the hairpin in front of this big crowd. Couldn't quite get the job done there.
Morecambe is a very aggressive driver. He's not the type of guy to concede for second place. He's going to be going for the victory here. Also, the championship's alive still. Whoever wins this weekend, or the races today, is going to win the championship.
This is what we love to see, a championship come down to the final event and two guys just duking it out. Clark running a bit wide, and they make contact in a big way.
That is a pretty unusual way to make contact. I don't know what happened there.
Let's have a look once more. Quinn, knowing he's under pressure. Oh, and it was a big hit too.
Oh, and Morecambe was on the throttle when they made contact. So, that's going to be an interesting one to see what the stewards have to say about that.
Now we've got traffic as well, and the first up will be the Lamborghini. Oh, it's just sideways right in front of the leaders. What a moment.
And they've been battling with that Lamborghini all weekend, those guys.
They make it through, and Clark Quinn still has his nose in front. Dying stages of the opening race here this weekend. Morecambe on the hunt.
And we're on the final lap. If it were me in his shoes, I'd be having a red-hot go here. Throw everything at it.
So on the edge and then a bit more as Morecambe that time clips the tyre barriers. He's trying to find every little inch. This is the corner they made contact last time. Morecambe needs a really good exit here if he wants a shot maybe up at the hairpin.
Yeah, over the bridge is certainly not a place to do it, but there are opportunities. There's a couple of corners to go. He's very, very close. He's got a great run over the top.
They're nearly airborne. Morecambe sticks his nose in there, and this is the moment. The lids come flying off the bottle here at Highlands. Morecambe sends Quinn into the dust, and this could be the championship.
I can't believe what we're seeing here. He's not going to get out of that gravel trap.
Oh, and Morecambe is going to get the win. He prevails and gets the checkered flag. But goodness me, this is more than just a talking point. Let's relive it.
What a run over the top, airborne over the hill, lunges. Quinn did definitely block there, absolutely block, but he's got every right to block on the final lap.
Hard to know exactly what the reaction was there for Morecambe. Frustration or anger. They got their wires crossed, there's no doubt about that. Quinn had a bit of a look in the left mirror. Whack, there he goes. Let's watch for his reaction.
And how about that body language pointed directly at him? He's not going to be very happy about that at all.
That is wild. These two guys weren't just on the limit, they were airborne. And then that is it, right there, in front of the mountains and the crowd, into the dust. The gravel goes Clark Quinn, and maybe his championship hopes with it. We'll wait and see what the judge of fact is on that one, because it's Morecambe who gets the win by 27 seconds. Armin clawed his way up to second. That's a stirring drive. Tony Quinn, third. But my goodness, let's catch up with the latest down in the pits.
Nathan Morecambe, talk us through that last corner, mate.
I went for a move, seen there was room, and I don't think Clark actually seen me coming, and he just moved for his normal line, and I had momentum that I just couldn't stop. But we had an incident earlier on too where he ran wide and cut back on and actually damaged the front right of my car. But other than that, the car was fast, cars were speedy, just hard to park around Highlands Motorsport Park.
Clark Quinn, you talk us through what happened on that particular incident, mate.
I'm not too sure. Just got a tag from behind. Obviously, Nathan had some pace on me, but you know, I wasn't going to let him get it easy. But not that I was blocking ferociously or anything, but you know, it was fair game, and just got a big punt from the rear and unnecessary. Wasn't the way I wanted to lose the championship. You know, I thought it would have been a great battle to the last race, but I think that's it for us. I think we've lost the championship now.
Well, the stewards are having a very close look at this one, so that championship might not be over just yet.
Welcome back to Highlands Motorsport Park and the beginning of race 2. The race 1 penalty has been handed down. Nathan Morecambe will start off the back of the grid, excluded, no points. Clark Quinn's going to start 4 places ahead, so game on for the championship.
Well, that is big news indeed. So Morecambe sent to the rear and the championship still very much alive. It's Mike Armin, though, in the front row, alongside Tony Quinn as we roll towards the green flag. And the last race of season 2016 is go in the Australian GT Championship.
What a spectacular view as they approach the bus stop chicane. This scares me every time they come through here. I just want to turn away. It is just so unforgiving through there. It just amazes me they all get through their single file, with the exception of one out the back there.
Sometimes it's better to be safer than sorry, and already Morecambe is on the back of Clark Quinn, so he's got a real blinding start here, Nathan Morecambe.
How do they keep finding each other on track? It's just incredible. The two guys going down to the wire in the championship. It's going to be interesting to see how this race unfolds.
Quinn does have the shorter pit stop time, though, in this race. That might play into his advantage later on. I can't believe how close these two have been all season, let alone just here this weekend. And here's a moment. Morecambe looks to the inside of Clark Quinn. Down to that carousel, side by side.
Bit of a role reversal from that first race.
Oh!
Don't know if there was any contact made there, but these two are fighting for the championship here, so they're not going to leave anything on the table.
Gloves very much off on the floor, forgotten about in that fight between those two. And G. Morecambe is aggressive here as he goes to the inside of the Walkinshaw Porsche. That's another one done.
Pretty lucky to get away with that, I think. That was very close, but he is going to be very aggressive in this race. He knows what he needs to do. He's going to fight every single car out there and have a crack at that championship.
Needs to keep moving forward. Remember, Roger Largo also in the fight, third in the points, and still fighting for this championship. Goodness me, Morecambe looking on the outside of the last corner. There's a big dirty concrete wall there if you get that one wrong.
That is not a place where you want to be going around the outside. We saw Andrew Mideki hit the wall there in practice earlier in the weekend. This track is just incredibly unforgiving.
Gets past Danny Studdard in the Trass Family Motorsport entry. Clark Quinn trying to follow the young Sydney sider through the traffic here. Let me be a little bit more patient. Liam Talbot in the Porsche. Up ahead, and Talbot moves to the inside of the Ferrari. I like that new relationship between Talbot and Walkinshaw. That could definitely yield some good results in the future. We rate Liam Talbot's skill in GT cars. Morecambe again at the carousel. This is good aggressive stuff from the man who is second in the points.
He is hustling that car hard. He's already cleaned up, half a dozen cars in the opening couple of laps, so no messing around there from Morecambe.
Expulsion from that last race. Oh, here we go. Under brakes again, Clark Quinn. Up the inside of Talbot. You're getting excluded from that last race. A harsh call, but if he'd been simply given 30-odd seconds, to be honest, he would have wrapped up that championship. So it was a tough call for the officials to make, but they pulled the trigger.
Yeah, definitely warranted a penalty. It's just, I guess the severity of the penalty is where it's quite tricky, and I believe that the exclusion from that race was probably the right thing to do.
He's driving this race faultlessly so far. Quick look in the mirror, but he's cleared one of the older model AMG SLSs, second of the Erebus prepared cars. Techno talking tactics down there. Pit stop window will be opening up a bit later in this race. Morecambe still hustling through. This time gets through the Taplin and Canto Lamborghini. And Clark Quinn follows straight through. So he's the world's most expensive tow truck at the moment because he's pulling Clark Quinn up the road. Headed to the bridge. Fast part of the racetrack. Been some big moments here this weekend. And the McLarens are going toe to toe.
And despite cleaning up the traffic on the way through, he's got to be one of the fastest cars out on track at the moment.
It's fair to say he's feeling a little bit fired up behind the seat. They just got through McMillan and that Wilson Security Lamborghini. Right on board with Morecambe. Needs to be perfect here. That was close.
Very technical bit of circuit right there. The left, right, left. It's a bit Mickey Mouse. It's one section of the track that's quite different and takes away that little bit of flow. But side by side through the carousel, gets it done.
He's got Tony Bates in his mirrors now. So he's done a really good job to get around the Jamac Pem Audi. There's the speed here through this fast part of the racetrack on approach, under brakes. Man, he's passed more Lamborghinis today than most people get to do in a lifetime. That's 3 in about as many laps.
And he's going to try this on for size, up over the bridge. This is just not the place you want to be overtaking, but Jesus, he's got that done. I can't believe he's trying that.
Oh, Clark Quinn taking no prisoners as well then, so he gets through on Tony Bates and that Jamac Pem Audi. He cannot afford to let Morecambe disappear up the road. They are fighting for the title still, very much so, after that opening race. Oh, gee, opening race crash, I was going to say, is Talbot. Sends McMillan backwards, and the Taplin Lambo caught up in this one as well. Right in front of the crowd too, that's set up on that hill. Meanwhile, back at the pointy end of the field, Tony Quinn doing a really good job here, now fighting with the BMW. And that is Stephen Richards behind the wheel. Not a man you want to have in your mirrors.
Yeah, he is one hard racer, as we've seen in the past, diving around the outside. I've seen that move pulled off a few times this weekend, but it leads you into that final corner where you certainly don't want to be going around the outside. That concrete wall does not budge in the slightest.
Richards now switches his attention to the inside at the bus stop chicane. Should get this done, and does. That is the battle for second position. Mike Arman in that STM Mercedes is further up the road, and here he is, actually clearing out quite comfortably.
And Mike Arman has just gone from strength to strength this weekend. He's taken to this car incredibly well. Car he's never driven before, and look at the buffer he's got. He's got a huge margin back to second place at the moment. Really hustling that AMG around this beautiful circuit.
We'll be handing that over to Craig Baird later. Now look who's tacked onto the back of this fight for second. Here's Morecambe, he's 7th. Needs to pick off a few more. It's Roger Largo, who wrapped up the Gold Cup for AM drivers over the age of 40 in the opening race. He's got to be watching out to the left side because here comes Morecambe. I reckon he's got him here. Whizzes on through.
Got the job done again, and I believe he's passed 19 cars in approximately 13 minutes of this race. That's just unheard of, and just you look at the way he's up on that wheel. He's super aggressive, no stuffing around. He's out to win this race.
And of course, we need to give credit also to Clark Quinn, who's still following him up through the traffic. Grant Denyer about to say sayonara to the rear taillights of that McLaren. There goes Morecambe for another one. Now Quinn. They're just going stroke for stroke. It's like watching a Hackett versus Thorpe swimming race out there. These two just scything through. Denyer's just going to sit this play out, I think, because he's just seen first, second and third in the championship cruise by. He wants no part of that fight.
You certainly don't want to be the one that tangles up with the two championship leaders in the final race of the championship. There's that dive bomb around the outside that I'm referring to. He's done the under and over.
Under him. He's got
over, under, over.
Perfect. That was
Either
a strange way of doing it, but Nathan Morecambe just goes cruising by Tony Quinn. Now Tony's got his son to worry about. Just feathers the throttle a bit. Frantic stuff, and Largo really answering the call too. Sees what's happening.
Getting
loose
loose
really
there.
picked up. And And a strange noise there, Carl, as well. Could hear something flapping around on one of these cars.
I just wonder if it is Morecambe's car. I'm not quite sure, but it doesn't sound good. I wonder what caused it. There might have been some contact between cars. Might have hit one of those tyre bundles that we've seen throughout the weekend as we see another overtake. I tell you what, the Techno teammates are doing a great job of making it very easy for Morecambe to get by.
Well, let's see how Elliot Barber plays this one as we go on board with him, looking over his shoulder, because the McLaren that's coming up now is not a teammate. That is Clark Quinn, and Clark is desperate to stick on the back of Nathan Morecambe here.
What a great look seeing these three orange McLarens coming through the first bus stop chicane.
Well, Clark Quinn hasn't been able to clear Elliot Barber just yet. Round through Southern Loop. Again, you can hear that. It sounds a bit like a train almost, flapping around. I think it might be part of the front splitter or underneath on Nathan Morecambe's car. So that is going to be something to think about, worry about with 40 minutes to go in this race.
And these cars are very dependent on the aerodynamics as well. So if there is a little bit of damage, whether it's the front end, maybe the underside, it's going to cause a few issues and certainly going to affect the pace of whoever's car it is. We haven't quite established that yet.
How about Armand here, the leader, approaching the McPherson Porsche, dives to the inside up over the bridge and moves ahead nicely, approaching the halfway point at the final race of season 2016. Armand with a big lead. But that battle between Morecambe and Quinn still absolutely raging on, as Quinn is still yet to clear Elliot Barber. Teammate is helping out here.
Yeah, doing the right thing, being a good teammate. Obviously, Elliot would love to finish the weekend on a high. So we'll see what happens here.
And Quinn comes in, so being held up, decides, doesn't want to lose much more time on the racetrack, elects to make his pit stop, which should be shorter than that of Nathan Morecambe when it comes Morecambe's time to pit. So the Stick 650S is in for his last pit stop of season 2016. So they'll sit there. It's a compulsory time, and each team have different times depending on their driver rating and where they started in the race. Armand, will he come in? Yes. He's going to hand this car over to Craig Baird.
Looking forward to seeing what Craig Baird can do in this car. Obviously, Armand's done an incredible job to lead the race. Very commanding lead, and quite a lengthy pit stop time for these guys, being two very established drivers. So Craig Baird will have to, no doubt, fight his way back through the field.
Nathan Antunes getting ready to hop in for Elliot Barber as Clark Quinn just shoots out of the pit lane and back onto this Highlands Motorsport Park circuit. He is in for this championship fight absolutely at the halfway point. He's got some clear racetrack too, which is exactly what you want after your pit stop.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty horrible feeling sitting in that pit lane, not doing a driver change, just waiting patiently. So Nathan Morecambe's going to have to push really hard, knowing that he's got that extra little bit of time to catch back up.
Well, Morecambe should pit here, getting to the end of the window, so he does. And officially, he is driven from last to first. So I think we need to just celebrate what an amazing drive throughout the opening half of this race it's been. And if this car has got damage, the team will get a little bit of a chance here to look. Yeah, there you go. So they're worried towards the rear of this car. Potentially that's where that aerodynamic flapping might just be. Let's find out what the latest is down in the pits.
Morecambe McLaren obviously having a hit to the rear and loosening the under tray. The guys working feverishly in the time they have in the pit stop here, about a 1 minute 30 to get that repaired.
Thank you, Mike. They need to get a wriggle on here, fixing up this diffuser, because the championship battle is alive as the two McLarens come onto the front straight, and the first one in this queue is Clark Quinn. So he gets ahead of Nathan Morecambe. It's advantage Clark Quinn in this championship once again. Morecambe finally gets on the loud pedal once more, but that is the distance. That's the gap he needs to make up. Very similar to the first race this weekend. Oh, but more cars get in between him. That's Baird going up the inside of Max Twigg. That's more cars for Nathan Morecambe to pass. Closing out the last race of season 2016, it's Roger Largo leading the way here in the Australian GT Championship. And Carl, he'll be quite happy with his efforts earlier in the day, actually wrapping up that Gold Driver Cup.
Yeah, he's driven very well this weekend, and he'll be very happy with that. Went into the weekend with a mathematical chance of winning the outright championship, but I think he's sort of conceded defeat. It's going to go to one of either Nathan Morecambe or Clark Quinn.
They are closing rapidly. Here comes Clark Quinn right now. He's got Nathan Antunes for company, who's a very talented GT driver. Actually, was very quick in open wheelers as well. Bit of a McLaren party at the moment trying to chase down that Lamborghini. Quinn almost looking defensive there for a moment. Oh, Max Twigg with a huge block to the inside of the carousel. Nathan Morecambe will have to really drive around the Laser Plumbing and Electrical BMW.
Nathan Morecambe's been very strong down into the hairpin here, so no doubt he'll go for a big dive bomb in just a second and execute it perfectly.
Max Twigg giving him plenty of racing room on the inside of that Forest hairpin, but there is just so much road for him to make up before he catches onto the back of this battle. It's the fight for the lead. It involves our championship leader, who's the man in the middle. Largo, what a return to the sport it's been after that nasty injury he picked up breaking his leg in the streets of Townsville. He was quick straight off the bat at Clipsal early this year where the championship started. He's about to relinquish the lead here with about a third of the race to go.
He's certainly making it difficult for Clark Quinn to get past, and I think Clark's probably in the position now where he's starting to think about the big picture. He knows he's ahead of Nathan Morecambe. As it stands, he's probably going to win the championship, so he needs to be a little bit more calculated with the risks that he's taking.
Yeah, but he's also got a teammate behind him of the guy who's fighting in the championship, so Morecambe's teammate might be able to buy into this battle here. If I was Clark Quinn, I'd be trying to get a wiggle on and get around Largo because Antunes is lurking, and now they go up the inside.
Antunes has been incredibly fast from the get-go this weekend. He loves this circuit. He loves getting up on the wheel and driving that McLaren hard around Highlands Motorsport Park.
Couple of turbo V8s in there, naturally aspirated V10, and then this monster of a V8 that is the latest model AMG GT3. And with the star of Craig Baird's caliber behind the wheel, you know it's going to be fun. He goes to the inside of Largo. Now this is Com Ledigar, who is down a lap here in the just cut 650S McLaren. So Baird should be able to make short work of the French superstar here. Yeah, Ledigar opening the door, very sporting at the hairpin. Stick onto the back of the STM Mercedes. So, wow, Baird really driving well at the end of the last race of the championship. Garth Tander in car toots, the Jamac Pem Audi. He's got a lot of work to do back in 12th. Whoa!
Bit of a scary moment there. It's not a place you want to drop a wheel. There's a fair bit of dust and marbles coming out the back of that Audi in front of him.
That's going to make life really difficult for Garth Tander, at least for half a lap or so.
That could have ended really badly, dropping a wheel there. The mid-corner speed through that southern loop is 160 kilometres an hour in a GT car, so very lucky to get away with that
he's
one.
marked up the inside of the BMW. There's a bit of a push there.
That is a bit brave.
Oh, there's still going on.
Oh,
and
I tell you what, that was not on.
Walkinshaw, Porsche in the fence in a big way.
Super aggressive. I would call that borderline intentional. It's hard to say until I see a replay.
Wow-wee. Oh, Marcus Marshall caught up in this one. Driving with the Honduras boys here this weekend, and the safety car comes out. What a time for that to happen. Clark Quinn did not want to see that safety car.
Quite a clean race up until this stage, and here's the replay.
From Garth Tander's point of view, he was sitting behind this battle. Well, it was hard. Mine was up the inside, but then he had Marshall up the inside of him as well.
I take back what I said before, that he was assisted along the way.
I was going to say 3 into 1, but it was actually 4 into 1.
4 wide. Bit of lap traffic in there as well. On a tight hairpin like that, it's never going to end well.
Oh.
Yeah, what a mess. It's really hard to pin that on one individual, I think.
And this has left us with a proper grandstand finish. Clark Quinn bringing us back for the restart, and Craig Baird looks hungry for a win here. Scott Taylor, the team boss, watching on crutches nonetheless after a nasty crash recently in racing. And this is on at the front. Up the inside goes Antunes for the lead.
He's got nothing to lose, Antunes. He's just out for the victory in this race, and hopefully that equates to a good result for the weekend for these guys.
Clark Quinn just needs to finish ahead of Nathan Morecambe, who's sitting about 6 on the road in this little pack. Craig Baird's 3rd and can smell a win.
Quite a long safety car period as well. I just wonder if the tyres have dropped off. These guys have been struggling all weekend to get tyre temperature around this circuit.
Gee, Morecambe brave up the inside in the background, getting in front of Largo, so he's cleared the Lamborghini. Here comes Baird, headlights flashing. And Clark Quinn knows this is not a fight that he wants to have. Gets out of it.
He actually hesitated a little bit then, Baird, which is rare from him, but he got the job done, and Clark Quinn got out the way very quickly.
Those two were co-drivers here for the first ever Highlands 101 race, which ended in tears in their Porsche, pretty much right there in the bridge. Dying stage of this one. It has been a thriller. Ledegar down a lap, trying to unlap himself on Clark Quinn, who's seen way too many Techno McLarens for his liking in this race.
Just McLaren's left, right and centre at the moment. Tell you what, they've been so strong around this circuit, haven't they?
Baird in second, closing on Antunes. Antunes was in the championship fight here 12 months ago. Oh, Murphy, here we go to the inside of Morecambe. That's tight. And Mies is in this as well.
Side by side through this section, this is incredibly fast. I just wonder if Morecambe has some ongoing problems with that diffuser that we saw them trying to fix during that pit stop period. It looks like a bit of a beast at the moment.
Oh, and Tandy gets up there as well. Jackson Evans in the fight now in the Triffids Lamborghini. Well, this has just about spelt the end of the road here for Nathan Morecambe.
He's doing what he can with the car that he's got, but I just don't think it's got the edge that it once had.
Wow, this safety car has just flipped this race right at the end. Here are the leaders. And that is fast through there. That last corner, there's a concrete wall on the outside. Nathan's girlfriend watching on, cheering.
Elliot's girlfriend too. They're obviously very excited.
But Clark Quinn is doing enough at the moment, and he's got the perfect rear gunner behind him now. This will be the last lap, and it's Greg Murphy in the Aston Martin driving for Tony Quinn, who's going to help here, Clark Quinn, bring home his third championship. Let's ride on board with Murph. It's twisty, it's tight, it's Highlands. And Clark Quinn helped design this layout. Oh, Mies with a cheeky look to the inside. Murph covers him off.
Even on the final lap, these guys, nothing left on the table. They're pushing these cars so hard. Just look at the attitude of these cars riding those curbs.
He's Baird. Can he get close enough to have a crack here at the Beechwood McLaren 650S? It's not going to happen. This has been a really stirring drive from Nathan Antunes. Shaking off the puncture that happened to them in race one. They're going to win the final race of the championship. They're a great combo. It's Antunes and Barber that win here at Highlands. And it's Craig Baird who brings it home for second. Tony Quinn gives his son the thumbs up, though, because it's Clark Quinn's championship in 2016. He wins it for the third time in his career. That is huge stuff. Congratulations to the entire Quinn family on another big championship. Oh, that's nice too. Clark's son, Ryder, welcoming Dad back into the pits. The scissor door comes up. He returns a champion. His daughter Lola in there as well. I think the party has officially started for the Quinn family. All four of his kids here, including the latest edition that's barely even a week old.
Come here.
I think they're pretty happy.
A very ecstatic Clark Quinn, 2016 China GT champion, my friend.
Yeah, that's awesome. What a way to finish the year, and it was like a 24-hour race, that one. It had everything. Morecambe, and like, he knew what to do, and he was giving it 110%. I don't think there's a body panel left on the car that's not shaken and stirred, and you know, he did a great job, and to be able to finish the year in the championship in that format, in that way, with that dicing, is just what every championship wants, and I'm just so ecstatic to be on top of the championship. It's a great way to end the year.
Nathan, pretty tough end of the championship, pretty tough race. It threw everything at you.
Oh, I definitely did. Threw everything at us, but we came up short. We're in front of Clark and then come out of the pits behind him, which was a bit of shame. But tried to catch him down at the end as a safety car, but just it was too far in front.
Nathan, Elliot, an amazing race. You've come out on top, and it had everything.
Yeah, I mean, Nate's stint at the end was probably the best drive I've seen in a long time. So lots of pressure from Beardo. We know how strong Beardo is, and that Benz has got a fair motor in it. So I don't know if it was more stressful for him or me in the garage. Yeah, I'm just pumped to finally get a win with me, mate.
You know, Elliot gave me the car with awesome tyres, did a good job at the start, put me in a good position. So I just wanted to finish strong, and that's what we did. You know, we didn't have it easy though. You know, Beardo in the Mercedes was pretty strong, and just made sure I didn't make a mistake and head down and go for it.
As I said all weekend, if you look at the times from whether it's Christopher Mies in an Audi, me in the Merc,
The boys in the McLarens were all within a tenth or two. To come away with a round win's really good. Also, hats off to Clark. He was in a nice little position there, and I was on the chase, but he had nothing to fight with me for, so he was looking at a championship and an old bloke behind him, so he just let me go.
It's very special to have the family here and the team and everyone and the fans. It's been a fantastic day, and it's just so special to be able to share that with everyone.